Hey guys, it's Blade again from Car Audio Security, and today we're looking at a new head unit, the Kenwood DNX 7190 DABS. DNX 7190 DABS. So this is a top of the range navigation unit from Kenwood with multiple other features such as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto via USB, HDMI input, high-res audio output, obviously built-in Garmin navigation, as well as many other features. So let's open up the box, we'll go through the features. Okay, so now that we've got the box open, let's go through the content. So starting off with the most important bit, I know it's a bit boring, but you have the instruction manuals. It's quite a thick wad, obviously it's in multiple languages, but there's quite a lot to read up on the stereo. So if you're stuck with anything, I would definitely recommend reading it, probably before you even turn the stereo on. You also get a magnetic plate for the GPS antenna, I'll explain that in a second, and removal keys for this cage. Now next to that we have the finishing trim that sits around the face of the stereo once you've finished installing it. The USB extension, so this has dual USB extensions, so you plug it into the back of the unit and this can be run around to your glove box or armrest, wherever you need to. So you have two connections at the back of this unit. This is your GPS antenna, so obviously this being a navigation unit, this is going to pick up GPS and give you a much more accurate location of where you are. That's what that magnetic strip's for, so you can stick it to the top of the stereo if need be. You have the Bluetooth microphone. So this is a standard issue Kenwood mic, so you plug it into the back of the unit and then run it up to your sun visor or headlining so that people on the other line can hear you. Next, you have the main wiring harness that comes with the stereo. So this is the multi-pin connection to go on the back of the unit and then goes to an ISO. So the ISO is universal for all branded stereos. That way you can purchase the correct harness that you would need for your vehicle, or if you have an older vehicle, it'll plug directly in. And then we have the unit itself. Okay, so the unit itself. So let's have a look at the physical features of it. So right off the bat, you have a nice big 7-inch capacitive touchscreen at the front with a row of buttons along the bottom to control it. And then you also have on the back quite a lot of functions here. Okay, so features on the back here, as I've said, you've got dual USBs. So this is where those extensions will plug into and then run around to your glove box. Over here, the other fly wires, we have your AM, FM aerial adapter input. And then these are your camera inputs. So this unit will take a front and rear parking camera, as well as a video output. So they're all labeled as need be. So over here we have a steering wheel controller in. So basically steering wheel control patch lead, plug into there, that way your steering wheel controls will still work. You have your mic input and your GPS input. Over here you have a dedicated Kenwood dashcam input. So that way you can view what your dashcam is seeing from this screen, but only works on the dedicated camera from Kenwood. Down here you have your RCA outputs. Now these are 4-volt RCA outputs, so very good quality outputs there. Obviously you have the fan to keep the unit nice and cool just here. You have your main power connections, which is for that harness that I showed you a second ago. Little 15 amp fuse there. So you have a remote output and then a multi-use external output. Here is your HDMI input. So this is basically a little holding plate. So you undo this screw, pull this off, pop your HDMI in. Now you do have to be careful if you're using an HDMI and how thick it is. It's a bit limited to how obviously wide the HDMI cable can be, so just bear that in mind. But once that cable is in, you then pop this plate back on, screw it back on, and it holds it in place, so it's not going to come disconnected. And then obviously, as well as that, you have a DAB connection down here, so it's an SMB pin, and then you have an AV audio output. So as well as your AV video output, you have an AV audio output as well. So you can have a full-on cinema experience in the back of the car running off of this unit. Okay, so we have our power connection plug already in there. We've got our power source ready to plug in. 3, 2, 1. Now, you will come to this setup screen when you first turn the unit on. Only when you first turn the unit on. When you obviously then use it again, the memory will take over and you won't need to do this again. But basically you just want to set your language, display, camera settings, and then your demo. So we'll turn demo off. And then obviously your locality where you are, and then finish. This warning screen will unfortunately come up every time you turn the stereo on. Because it is a multimedia screen, it's illegal requirement to have this screen on. You can then just tick automatically remove this after 10 seconds if you don't want to have to click agree. So this is your home screen. So the home screen is adjustable. You can change into widgets and stuff like that. So you can change the background, put different widgets and stuff like that into the home screen. Change obviously the home screen background wherever you need to. But let's go into the bottom features. So this is your navigation. Now, this is probably not going to give you much information here because we don't have a GPS located in the back of the unit, but this is your main GPS home screen. This is where you're going to have your instructions to put in the postcode or where you would like to go, trip computer and all that stuff there. Now going back, you have your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto grayed out. Now when you connect either or, it will color up and it will show you which one is accessible. And then telephone is over on the right hand side. So they're your quick features. If we click over here, you have all the features of the stereo. So we'll quickly run through them. So you have DAB radio here, so that's your digital radio. That's the connection on the back of the unit there. Your normal FM AM radio, your Bluetooth connection. This has a dedicated Spotify app, so you can view all your playlists and go through it that way. You have an iPod connection, disc. Now this has a CD player behind it, we'll show you that in a second. USB and SD, and then your navigation on the bottom there. And over here you have your HDMI, AV input, audio settings, and then you can put the unit into standby. Now, buttons along the bottom, you have your volume up and down, you have your navigation button, that will take you directly to nav without having to click on it. And then you have home button, which is the middle there, which doubles up as a standby mode, so you can press and hold on it and turn it off. You have a quick menu, that will drop down and give you quick menu options. You have your widget bar, so that basically takes you to your most recent application on the unit. And then this is your screen settings, as it were. So this is, because this is a motorized screen, you can set it to be a different angle. So let's say you've got it at this angle and you're getting a bit of sun glare and the sun's coming from on the top. So we can actually go -1 viewing angle. So that changes the basic contrast of the screen. And then we can change the tilt of the screen as well. And that'll save in memory as well. So if you have a vehicle that the unit sits quite low and you want it angled up like that, for instance, you can do that and it will save it. Every time the unit turns on, it will go back to that position. But for now, we'll keep it on 0. Now, this is where the CD player is. So if you click disc eject, you have your CD player here. Now, this is a CD and DVD player. And then underneath, you have an SD card input. And then you press eject key again, and that will close it. Obviously, if you need to get an SD card in, that was a bit awkward to get to, so we just click open, and that will flatten it all the way down so you can put your SD card in there. Okay, so as you can see, we're watching a video on this. So this is a multimedia screen. So you have multiple ways of playing media onto this screen, obviously not whilst you're driving. Now, I'll go through them quickly. So you have your normal USB format. This is what we're playing at the moment. So it's a USB video file. Now this has obviously CD DVD player, so you can pop a DVD in if you need be. And obviously you have an HDMI input as well. So if you wanted to pop an Amazon Fire Stick in there or HDMI stream from your phone with an adapter, you could do that. So you could even do screen mirroring on here if need be. So multiple ways of streaming, and obviously this has a AV output as well. So it's a video output, so you could add a rear screen into the car if you needed to. Saying that, obviously the HDMI input, you could even put a games console on there. So multiple ways of putting media onto this unit. Okay, so I'm going to quickly demonstrate the use of Android Auto. Obviously Apple CarPlay is very similar, but I have an Android phone, so it makes life easier for me. So we have an Android phone here, we have a USB connection in the back of the unit to my phone. Plug the phone in, it will obviously charge the phone at the same time, and it'll probably just give you a prompt, but it may just switch itself. There you go, continue setup on the car screen. So continue here. Next, next. There we go. So this is the Android Auto on the screen here. So you have Google Maps, Spotify, YouTube Music, phone book, calendar. You even have some games that you can play there. You got messages, Messenger, and Waze. Waze is the main thing that I would use personally. Okay, so this is Waze. This is the main navigation data that I use. Obviously you can just search where you need to go and go from there. It's very handy to use. Then you can just go back into your music, change your music station, whatever you want to do. You can even play music whilst you're in the rest of the unit as well from Android Auto. Okay, so that pretty much brings the video to an end. So we've covered the DNX 7190 DABs, one of their high-res, high-quality, high-end units from Kenwood. Just to quickly run through the specs again, you've got built-in navigation as well as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto via USB connection. So just bear this in mind, this is not wireless CarPlay or Android Auto on this unit. But you have lots of other specs as well, such as HDMI input, multiple camera inputs, as well as a tiltable screen and the CD, DVD player in there. Loads and loads of other specs that I can't even remember myself. But very, very good unit. Now this is going to be marketed to the kind of person that doesn't want to use their phone for their maps all the time. They want to rely on the full-on Garmin navigation that's built in with this. So this obviously has that as part of it. Now, with this unit, you get 3 years of free map updates, but then from there, you will need to purchase your own map updates from the Kenwood website. So just bear that in mind. Obviously, this will give you traffic information as well on the navigation. But yeah, fantastic unit. Very, very easy to use and very, very simple. Now, that's pretty much it from me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.